Welcome to No Skips. This is the show where we talk about the albums that you put the headphones on, you hit play, and you don't skip any songs. You just listen to the whole album from front to back. With that being said, I want to put a disclaimer out there. I don't talk about every song on the albums that I talk about because it would take too long to do that. So I highlight, but just remember, any songs I don't mention, I'm not saying that those songs aren't good. I'm just trying to keep this concise because I respect your time and I appreciate you giving me a little bit of it. Okay. So today we're going to talk about an album that came out in the year 2011, came out in October of 2011. And this is by Patrick Stump. The album is called Soul Punk. Now, if you don't know, Patrick Stump is the lead singer for my favorite band, Fall Out Boy, and this was his solo effort that he released while Fall Out Boy was on hiatus. Now, I need to tell you something when it comes to this album. This album means more to me than a lot of others. And the reason why it does is because I was going through some hardships when this album came out. And as a creative person, because I make movies, I do podcasts, things like that. As a creative person, and just as a person in general that really needed a pick-me-up, this album did that for me. And I don't mean to sound dramatic, but we all know the power of music, right? This album lifted me out of a lot of those negative thoughts. And it got me thinking about how to be creative moving forward. And if I ever got the chance to meet Patrick Stump, I would tell him that. I don't know how he would receive that because I know I've seen interviews with him where he's kind of like, yeah, you know, the fan interaction thing's a little awkward for me. I just like making the music, right? But if I ever did get the chance to meet him, I would tell him that. But this album for me means the world. Now, it only had one single that came off of it that was released, and that was called This City. It was the remix version of it featuring Lupe Fiasco. And I like that single, but I feel like it was kind of a missed opportunity because while that song fits the radio charts, this thing is chock full of just great songs and great musicianship, which that's something with this album that impressed me as a creative person. Patrick Stump put his own money into this thing because he wanted to do it. He put his own money into this thing and he played every single instrument on this album. Now, when he went and toured, obviously he had other band members that came in and helped him because he wasn't going to do the whole one-man band thing on the stage, right? But when he was recording this album, he was a one-man band. And that to me is impressive because you don't really see that anymore. So right there, I'm already invested, right? But this album has a bunch of great songs on it. And I think one of the reasons why it didn't do so well whenever he released it was a lot of people thought frontman from Fall Out Boy, they're a pop punk band. Some people called them an emo band. You know, he's going to do something like that. And it was not like that. It was a lot more in the vein of David Bowie or Michael Jackson or Prince, you know, music like that. And so when people first heard it, they went, what is this? I don't understand. But those same people missed out. That's what I'm going to say. The people that did that missed out on a great record. Okay. But for me, some of the songs I love, and again, I love every single song off this album, but I'm just going to try to be, you know, concise here. Explode. First song on the album called Explode. It's a really good tune. This City, I enjoyed that song. I don't mean to sound like I didn't enjoy that song. I enjoyed that song. I just felt like of all the songs they could have released as a single, the fact that they used that one, I was like, okay, but they could have shown off some of the other stuff he did on the record if they would have picked a different song, and that song is Alley. I think Alley should have been the lead single off this album. Alley, by the way, is the 9th track on this album, and it's got 10 songs on it, 11 if you get the bonus edition, and then there's also a deluxe edition that has even more songs. But some of the ones I loved, again, Explode, I really love that song. Alley, really enjoyed that song. Everybody Wants Somebody, really enjoyed that one as well. Spotlight, New Regrets. Now, what's interesting about that is when Patrick Stump released his first EP, Truant Wave, he had a song on there called Spotlight. This was a different version of that song. Spotlight, New Regrets. And I enjoyed the first one that he did, and I enjoyed this one as well. The Eye in Lie. Ooh, that's a good song. That's a really, really good song. Run Dry is a great one as well. Now, Run Dry is an 8-minute song because it's actually 2 songs put together. But if you listen to Run Dry, which is like, I want to say 3 minutes and 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, that one is one that I'm surprised was not on more radio stations. But again, just a great album. Like, I'm looking at these songs down here on my phone and I'm going, I want to talk about every single one of them, but I also want to be concise at the same time. Coast, It's Gonna Get Better. That was one of my favorites for obvious reasons. Like I said, I was down, I was in the dumps, and that song made me feel better because it's gonna get better. Yeah. I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but like I said, it was one of those that really lifted me out of what I was going through at the time. But again, this is a no skips album. And if you listen to it, you know, it's not that you're going to be one of the few that did, because a lot of people have found this album since Fall Out Boy's return, and it's grown in appreciation since Fall Out Boy's return. But initially, like I said, it was a little bit of a shock to the people that were following Fall Out Boy originally. And there was also a lot of people too that were just being downright rude to Patrick Stump and, you know, basically saying he should go back to Fall Out Boy. And I think it was because they were hurt that Fall Out Boy was on hiatus. And so their way of solving that was, let me go and find every individual project these guys are doing and crap on it to the point where they have no choice but to get back together, which is a weird thing. Like, let me abuse you so you can go back to doing what I love that you do because I love you. That's a really screwed up way of thinking about it. But some people did that. Some people did that. But this album, you shouldn't miss out on it. You really shouldn't. As far as the timing is concerned, it is 46 minutes long. So take about an hour, put those headphones on, and listen to soul punk. In my opinion, he kind of created his own genre with this album. And I would have loved to see more songs come out like this. And I kind of got to say, this one came out in 2011. There were a lot of albums during that time frame, especially a few years after that, that started to sound a little bit like soul punk. So I think he was early. He wasn't wrong. He was early. But again, check this one out. It's a no skips album. Patrick Stump, Soul Punk. It's a great one. And if you happen to get it in physical media, which I would encourage you to do, when you open up the album, get a black light, because there's a special message on the inside where it has all the different, you know, track listings and thank yous and all that. You put all those letters together, it gives you a secret message. I'm not going to tell you what that message is because I want you to go buy the CD. Okay. Help our guy out. Go buy the CD. But again, Patrick Stump from 2011, Soul Punk, a no skips album. If you listen to it, let me know if you skip any songs on the album. Let me know what you thought about it. And until next time, my friends, like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out more than you know. And I'll see you next time on No Skips.